I don't want my content to just be dogging on Democrats in Congress for blowing their shot to save democracy from a fascist takeover. But the last few days, it feels like that's what I have to talk about. Much like I would vastly prefer to be talking about beekeeping and pruning in my orchard and creating resilient local food economies, but that is not of highest import right now. Addressing stopping the fascist takeover of the United States is. And so I've had to not only set aside my normal content to talk about what is of highest import, but I've also had to stop doing many of the things in my life that bring me greatest joy and focus on this crisis. My ethics are earth care, people care, and fair share. And so I will talk about whatever upholds those ethics, and I will push back against whatever is a threat to them. And that means for the last few days, I have been after establishment Democrats who seem to be doing their darndest to roll over for fascism. Now, I have made no secret of the fact that I am very much a hold my nose and vote Democratic person. As an anti-capitalist, as a post-capitalist, of course, I am never going to be super thrilled with our two-party system and the fact that whoever I vote for is probably taking money from lobbyists, is probably going to vote for things that are counter to my ideals and my ethics. But I am very much not a puritanical, black and white single issue voter. And I understand the limitations of the system that we're in. We don't have an equivalent of the German Linke Party in the United States. We have a two-party system on the national level, at least. And because of that, I vote Democratic. And that means I have every right to criticize our elected officials who work for us. They are not our bosses, they are our public servants. And it's been interesting to me on my last few videos where I have criticized Senator Cory Booker, where I've criticized members of Congress for wearing pink and sitting on their hands, where I have criticized every Democrat for not standing up and walking out in solidarity when Representative Al Green was thrown out during Trump's speech, where I have continued to repeat my accurate description of establishment Democrats as being feckless and impotent. But I have also been praising the Democratic leaders like Jasmine Crockett, like AOC, like Bernie, and even my own Congresswoman Maxine Dexter for taking steps to stand up, for being outspoken in their criticism of this regime, for being outspoken on behalf of the American people. Maxwell Frost, Robert Garcia, the list goes on. But in those videos, it is interesting that I have gotten several comments from, I think, folks that are establishment Democrats. They're always folks from anonymous accounts. And I want to bring up two of them here and discuss. Now, I understand at this point in time, it's always hard to tell what is a Russian bot account or a paid actor by Elon Musk from an anonymous account in your YouTube or TikTok comments. It's always good to have a healthy dose of skepticism when someone is pushing you to inaction, when someone is telling you not to do what is right, not to stand up for your constitutional rights, not to act, not to get rowdy. When someone is saying, stop that, that's either not going to be effective or you're doing the wrong thing. Just have a healthy dose of skepticism about who that source is and what their motivation might be. Granted, I get more than 10,000 YouTube comments a day right now. So in the olden days, I used to read all of my comments and try to reply to everybody. But now, honestly, I just have a few minutes to skim here and there. But this one stood out to me from Tom. He says, blasting the only bulwark left for us is total idiocy. Stop posting, please. This is in response to me saying that what establishment Democrats are doing is insufficient, that they think we are just going to get really pissed off at Republicans, and in the midterms, we're going to vote them all out. That is their whole strategy. That has been their strategy for decades, that they don't have a compelling narrative. It's just, we're not as bad as the other guy. And yet we're facing the SAVE Act that will take away the right to vote from 21 million Americans, mostly women. We are looking at active voter suppression. We are looking at Elon Musk pouring tons of money into MAGA Project 2025 candidates. So the fact that so many establishment Democrats are pinning all of their hopes on the midterms is wild to me. So let me read my reply to Tom here. And I want to be really clear. I don't have to be nice in my comments. I don't owe random dudes politeness. I don't know anybody who is arguing for people to sit down and be quiet and not advocate for their rights. I don't owe any of those people politeness. So I said, when was the last time a random dude on the internet telling me to stop got his way? I'll give you 3 guesses. How sad to believe that a political party failing to defend democracy is our last hope. We, the people, are our best hope. If we truly believe that establishment Democrats in Congress are the last bulwark of our democracy, we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked and absolutely incorrect in that assessment. We, the American people, are the source of power. We, the American people, are the ones who should be in control. There are hundreds of millions of us. Our electeds in Congress need to do their job. And if they're not, we need to give them feedback about how they need to step up and do better. We have every right to criticize them. You should be calling them every day, just like I do. Let me read one more comment here. I've gotten more than a dozen comments like this one from folks who I think didn't actually watch any of my videos, who said, I'm sure you are by now aware if Democrats boycotted the speech, Republicans would have put staffers in those seats to make it look like Trump had unanimous approval. Right, which is why I said for days before the speech that all Democrats should attend the speech. And when Trump came out, on the live feed for everybody to see all around the world, every Democrat should have stood up, given Trump their back, and walked out. He wasn't going to then infill the seats in the middle of his speech with Republican staffers, or if he had, then it would be very clear what he was doing. But I got so many iterations of this, and I understand because this is what establishment Democrats are telling you. We had to attend because otherwise he would have filled our seats with loyalists. Once again, very bizarre binary thinking. I must sit and lend credence to a fascist, a puppet of Russia. I must sit quietly by and lend credibility to his lies. Because I can only see one other option, which is that if I boycott, he will fill my seat with a loyalist. As if there aren't dozens of other options, including what Al Green did, including what my rep and many others did, which was stand up and walk out partway through, including what Bernie Sanders did, which is stand up and walk out partway through and give a press conference, which was watched by almost 2 million people. Right, and this bro is once again being a discouragement. What policy would that have changed? What victory would that achieve? It's like you don't understand how important visual imagery is, visual messaging. It's like you don't understand how drama and spectacle are tools that politicians need to use. Trump understands this incredibly well, and Democrats absolutely suck at it. The goal is not to bring about policy change, Pookie. The goal is to stop fascism from destroying our democracy. The goal is to save millions of lives here and abroad. The goal is the preservation of our liberty and our way of life. And you're like, oh, what policy does this change? We have got to be strategic at every level, and we are watching establishment Democrats fall on their face every time they think they're being strategic. They look clumsy and they look 30 years out of date. They have no social media game. They have no messaging game. They have no tenacity, except for those few folks like Jasmine Crockett who are demonstrating what the party should be doing. And leadership is not listening to her. I hate to say it, but once again, it falls back on the skills, the intellect, the capability, the tenacity, the leadership of a Black woman. I hate that that is where we are as a nation, that it is always up to Black women to save us. But goddamn, she's doing the thing that needs to be done. She is showing Democrats how they need to behave right now. And I don't like it that this is being asked of her, and I don't like that she is in the crosshairs, but she is choosing to use her platform, to use her skills, to use her energy, to use her words and her actions to defend democracy, to defend the American people. Where are all the white men in Congress putting their bodies and their lives and their platforms and their jobs on the front lines? Anyway, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You should be calling your reps every day. They work for you. You have a right to criticize them. Anybody who is saying, shh, we've all got to follow we've got to lean into the Democrats. We've got to let them push the Overton window to the right. We've got to just play along with what they're doing. No, we don't. No, we don't, because they don't know what they're doing. I, for one, am not going to let them Pied Piper the American people, blow their little tune that says, we're fighting for you. Just hang on till the midterms. It's okay. We need to stand on deference and decorum. We're telling you what the right thing is to do. Just hang in there. Hang in till the midterms. I'm not going to let them play that tune. Absolutely not. Don't listen to anonymous accounts telling you otherwise. Don't listen to any anonymous account that is telling you not to act, not to speak up, not to criticize the people who work for you and are right now falling down on the job. I would encourage everybody to look to platform, to promote the voices of those folks in Congress who understand the assignment. And also absolutely look to the folks in your community who are fighting back. Because again, as I have said over and over and over, it is we the people who are going to save us. It is us who have the numbers. It is us who actually have the power. So don't pin all your hopes and dreams on electeds. Definitely don't pin it on establishment Democrats waking up and realizing how to get their head in the game. Look for folks in your community, get connected in your community. That's where you're going to see people who know how to stand up for democracy.